Sometime around 1939 or 40, a group of young men gathered at their favourite drinking hole, the Geyser Hotel at Whakarewarewa. The subject of their conversation, between glasses of beer and beautiful singing, the war, the Second World War, for which some of them had already enlisted, others thinking of doing so. They promised each other, when the war was over, they would gather there again, and on the cardboard insert of a cigarette packet, they each wrote their name. 19 in all. 16 of them went to war. 5 never returned. 2 of those 5 were our uncles, Kormane Maikawaka of Whakarewarewa and Morrison Cullen, who happened to be visiting us from Christchurch prior to going off to military camp. Kormane's memorial is at El Alamein, Egypt. Maury is buried at Tobruk, Libya. We really got this idea, didn't we? Really from Mum, wanting to go all those years ago to see her brother, Uncle Maury. And she tried, back in the early 70s, was it? Somewhere around there?
Yes.
And
maybe before, I think it was the late 60s. This was before Dad died.
Yeah. And she tried while they were in Egypt, but Libya was definitely closed to tourists, to everyone. And so it was that my sister Lyndall and I decided that we would make that journey across the world that our mother and her sister wanted to make 40 years ago. Arriving in Cairo, we set off north to Alexandria and along the Mediterranean coast, which borders the desert regions, where the battles of Alamein raged. In the first battle, Kormane was killed on the 12th of July 1942. Arriving at the magnificent walled cemetery at El Alamein, we followed a long flight of wide steps through the entrance to a column in the memorial cloisters, where we found Kormane's name. Not so easy was finding his comrades from Waka and Ohinamutu buried there. But eventually we located them, about 8 in all. It was a very emotional visit for us, being so conscious of these young men lying forever in such a foreign and isolated place, a world away from home. And what a waste of young lives. The cemetery is beautifully set out and immaculately maintained, and as luck had it, we were the only ones there apart from the 2 groundsmen, so were able to peruse with no distractions. We lingered for an hour or more, then reluctantly resumed our journey along the coast to cross the border into Libya. Travelling through Libya, it was a 2-hour journey from the border to Tobruk, and late afternoon saw us reach our destination. Tobruk Cemetery nestles behind its arched gateway. Inside, the lines of white memorial headstones, interspersed by greenery, provided us with a sense of tranquility, but also a tremendous sadness for this uncle who lay here. We remembered the love our mother had for her younger brother and the terrible grief she suffered when she received news of his death. We also grieved for him here in foreign soil, a huge distance from home, but we were comforted by the knowledge that he was well cared for in these immaculate surroundings. The cemetery looked beautiful in the late afternoon sun. And now our pilgrimage to El Alamein and Tobruk was nearing an end. We brought home pleasant memories of the time spent in both countries, the friendliness of the people, especially the young. We appreciated their culture and the beauty of the Nile and the antiquities. We flew out of Egypt feeling we had achieved our goal and had gained a short but wonderful insight into the countries in which our uncles lay.